Welcome to Sacrilegious Discourse.
I'm husband.
And I'm wife.
Together, we're reading the Bible for the very first time.
We grew up without religion and wanted to know what all the fuss was about.
Well, what have we learned so far?
That God is a dick, and apparently some people believe in talking donkeys.
We're not trying to pass ourselves off as experts.
Nope, we're just reading the Bible for the first time and giving our first take reaction.
If you'd like to join us in this venture, you might consider starting at episode 1.
Otherwise, jump in wherever you like.
All right, let's go read the Bible.
Yeah, let's get to it.
Hey wife, did you know that Anchor is sponsoring our show?
Really? Don't we use Anchor to distribute our podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts?
Yeah, and we are on just about every other platform available as well, thanks to them.
Why do we use Anchor as our podcasting service?
Well, they make editing and distributing our show a breeze.
What if one of our listeners wants to start their own podcast?
Then they should head over to anchor.fm or download the app to get started.
Awesome! You guys should go do that right now! Husband!
Wife!
Do you remember what the fuck happened last week? Because I had to ask you what the fuck happened last week and what chapter we're on.
I really don't remember, actually.
Well, I did a brief look and it looks like there were lots of kings.
Yeah?
Kings and things.
Kings and things.
This king and that king and one king after another.
Okay.
And then one of them
I remember
bad.
some of them were bad and some of them were good.
Yeah, one of them did bad, see?
Right, yeah.
See? Yeah. So we ended with the Reign of Baasha.
Okay.
But that just started it, and that's where we're picking up.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Sounds good. So that was 1 Kings chapter 15.
Yep.
And today we are doing?
1 Kings chapter 16.
All right, let's do this.
Okie dokie.
Hey, wife, do you like coffee in the morning?
I sure do, husband. Morning, noon, night. Which reminds me, I need to add that to our grocery list because we're running low.
Wait, before you do that, check out the website ungodlybrew.com where you can purchase a pound of your favorite flavor of coffee.
What if I want more than 1 pound?
Either order a larger amount or better yet, get 10% off by setting up a subscription for every 2 weeks or a month or whatever works for you.
Did you set up something special for our listeners?
You know I did. Exclusive for our listeners, get an additional 10% off subscriptions by entering the code SACRILEGIOUSCOFFEE at checkout.
That's a hellishly good deal.
Ungodly Brew is hellishly good coffee.
Okay, so before I jump into 1 Kings chapter 16, I thought since this section that we're starting with started at the end of Fridays,
right?
I'm going to reread those 3 sentences.
Okay.
Just so that we're like starting today fresh from the beginning of this section.
Okay, so this is 15 again.
This is 1 Kings chapter 15, like the last 3 sentences.
Okay.
Okay, the Reign of Baasha. Baasha, son of Ahijah, began to rule over all Israel in the 3rd year of King Asa's reign in Judah. Baasha reigned in Tirzah 24 years, but he did what was evil in the Lord's sight and followed the example of Jeroboam, continuing the sins that Jeroboam had led Israel to commit. Okay?
Awesome.
So that's where we're starting today.
It's totally clear now.
Yeah, totally.
I mean...
Dude was real bad. Okay?
Yeah.
So now, 1 Kings chapter 16, continuing with Baasha.
Okay.
Okay?
Yep.
This message from the Lord was delivered to King Baasha by the prophet Jehu, son of Hanani.
Okay.
I lifted you out of the dust to make you ruler of my people Israel, but you have followed the evil example of Jeroboam. You have provoked my anger by causing my people Israel to sin. So now I will destroy you and your family, just as I destroyed the descendants of Jeroboam, son of Nebat.
You're making this sound like an Appalachian,
yeah, I am.
Family feud.
Yeah, I am, because this guy's quoting God, and he's Southern rebel.
Right.
He's doing all kinds of stuff, things
right.
bad.
Yeah.
The members of Baasha's family who die in the city will be eaten by dogs, and those who die in the field will be eaten by vultures.
Vultures.
Okay?
Yeah.
End quote. Damn.
Yeah.
The rest of the events in Baasha's reign and the extent of his power are recorded in...
the book of whatever
it's
things.
It's a blank spot.
Again. Wow.
It's in one of those Chronicle-y king
Chronicle
books.
of Kings.
That's what it was. Chronicles and Kings and Kings and Chronicles.
Right.
Yeah. That's what it was.
Okay.
So, continue. When Baasha died, he was buried in Tirzah. Then his son Elah became the next king. The message from the Lord against Baasha and his family came through the prophet Jehu, son of Hanani.
Yeah.
Just like they already said.
So, yeah, we did that.
It was delivered because Baasha had done what was evil in the Lord's sight.
Which we already said, too. Yeah.
Just as the family of Jeroboam had done. Parentheses voice.
Which, again, we also already said.
And also because Baasha had destroyed the family of Jeroboam.
Okay.
The Lord's anger was provoked by Baasha's sins.
Yeah. Okay.
He pissed.
Right.
Got big mad.
Let's see what he does.
Okay.
Does he do anything?
Well, we're about to start a new little section where we learn about Elah's reign.
Right, which is the son of the guy that he was going to,
Baasha.
fight. Yeah. Okay.
Elah, son of Baasha, began to rule over Israel in the 26th year of King Asa's reign in Judah. He reigned in the city of Tirzah for 2 years. Then Zimri, who commanded half of the royal chariots, made plans to kill him.
Oh, no.
As you do.
Right, yeah.
When you're ruling some chariots.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You say, let's kill the boss.
Right.
One day in Tirzah, Elah was getting drunk at the home of Arza.
As kings do.
As kings do. I was like, man, I misplaced that.
Right,
as kings do. Or
I
as
got it
you
for
do.
you. I covered it for you.
I know. I'm just saying, like, I should have waited one sentence.
Right.
Because it was more fitting to.
Yeah.
Whatever. Anyway, at the home of Arza, the supervisor of his palace, so he drinking.
Yep.
Zimri walked in and struck him down and killed him.
Oh, shit.
I mean, at least he died happy, question mark?
I guess,
If you're going to die drunk, question mark?
Right.
I don't know.
I don't know
That was probably
I don't think there's any
horrible.
good time to die,
No,
really.
No.
No.
I was just thinking, like, at least he was having a good time, but I don't know. Whatever.
Right, yeah.
He was a bad guy, whatever.
I mean, according to the Bible, he's a bad guy.
Sure.
Which, to me, doesn't mean a whole fuck ton a lot.
It really doesn't.
That was a weird thing.
A whole fuck ton a lot?
Right, yeah.
I understood that measurement just fine.
Right, yeah.
This happened in the 27th year of King Asa's reign in Judah.
Apparently, we're measuring all this by Asa's reign right now. So.
Well, they're telling you while so-and-so was reigning in Israel,
no, I know.
So-and-so else was reigning in Judah.
I know. I got it.
So it's not just during the one guy.
I got it.
They're just...
This is about as exciting as the fucking lists of names of people and tribes of people and all that shit.
Yeah. Well, apparently, when we hit Chronicles, it ain't going to be much better.
Fun.
Whee! Then Zimri became the next king. Zimri immediately, because he just murdered
somebody.
somebody.
You get to be king.
I'm the boss.
When you murder somebody, you get to be king.
Duh.
When you murder a king, you get to be king, I guess.
Right.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Unless somebody else murders you, then they get to be king. Right, yeah.
And then...
And so on and so forth. Right, yeah.
Yeah, it's turtles all the way down. Zimri immediately killed the entire royal family of Baasha, leaving him not even a single male child.
I guess God got his vengeance thing.
You could just stop it. God got his. He even destroyed distant relatives and friends.
Man.
What a dick.
Right?
So Zimri destroyed the dynasty of Baasha as the Lord had promised through the prophet Jehu.
Mm-hmm.
This happened because of all the sins Baasha and his son Elah had committed, and because of the sins they led Israel to commit.
I really don't see the point of any of this because, there is literally no context here.
Right.
They're just like, here's a king, he was bad, God hated him, he killed a lot of people. Okay, next.
Well, I mean, they have to name all these people to show a line of succession.
They don't have to. They are naming them, but
well, they
could
have just made a list. They could have just made a list.
Right.
Like so-and-so and so-and-so and so-and-so during this year, during that year.
Yep.
They provoked the anger of the Lord, the God of Israel, with their worthless idols.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the events in Elah's reign and everything he did are recorded in one of those books. Yep. That's just so weird to me.
Yeah, I feel like we almost need to get the actual book here instead of reading off this so that we don't fuck it up like this.
Well, yeah, probably.
I'm just saying.
But, this is free, and I don't want to buy a Bible.
Right.
And I don't really want to borrow one from the library either.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to stick with what I know.
Okay. All right.
I mean.
Yeah.
Do you want to buy a Bible?
I do not. I do not.
Do you want to check one out from the library?
Nope.
Okay, so I guess we got what we got.
We got what we got.
Zimri began to rule over Israel in the 27th year of King Asa's reign in Judah. But his reign in Tirzah lasted only 7 days.
Oh, shit.
The army of Israel was then attacking the Philistine town of Gibbethon. When they heard that Zimri had committed treason and had assassinated the king, that very day they chose Omri, commander of the army, as the new king of Israel. They were like, fuck you, murderer. You're not going to take over. So Omri led the entire army of Israel up from Gibbethon to attack Tirzah, Israel's capital. When Zimri saw that the city had been taken, he went into the citadel of the palace and burned it down over himself.
Wow.
And died in the flames.
Wow, that's dramatic.
He was like, if I can't have it, no one can.
Right, yeah.
I'm taking my toys and setting them on fire.
Right, yeah.
Bitches.
That was a bad move, taking over and being king. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
For he, too, had done what was evil in the Lord's sight.
He had 7 days. Like, what the hell?
He had 7 days. And then he was like, I'm done for.
Right? Yeah.
Yep. For he, too, had done what was evil in the Lord's sight.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like, what did he do? Like, what? He had fucking 7 days. What did he do that was fucking evil?
He murdered the guy to get in.
But God wanted that done.
But they were supposed to be anointed by Levites. The kings are supposed to be appointed. And
I don't feel like any of this shit's happening, like, correctly.
It's not.
And God just willy-nilly offers up punishment as he feels fit, according to the Bible.
I don't think that any of these are punishments. I think it's just, like, a list of what happened.
Right.
And then when it's something beneficial or something that, like, goes with the flow, then we're like, oh, that was God that did that.
Right, yeah.
Oh, God did that.
No, totally.
Right?
Yeah.
It's like if we crash our car and we're like, oh, fuck, why did God make us crash our car? But then we realized later on that if we hadn't got into that car accident, we would have made it home in time to have our entire house demolished by a cyclone, and we would have been tore away with it. Well, God sure saved us when he made us get into that car accident.
Right.
It's like when you're armchair quarterbacking, everything can be made to fit pattern.
Yeah. No, you're right.
He followed the example of Jeroboam and all the sins he had committed during that week.
Okay.
And led Israel to commit. The rest of the events in Zimri's reign and his conspiracy are recorded in
that book, that
one of those
Chronicles
books.
of Kings or some shit.
Chronicles of Kings or Chronicles of Chronicles or King Chronicles.
Right.
Kingly Chronicle Story Tales.
Okay.
Okay, now we're going to talk about Omri.
Okay.
Because he was like, the hell you say.
Right.
But now the people of Israel were split into 2 factions.
Wait, they were already... What?
Israel was split into 2.
Oh, okay.
So Judah's
so we're splitting
already...
the splitting.
Yeah, Judah's already split. Now Israel is splitting in 2.
Got it.
Okay?
Okay.
Half the people tried to make Tibni, son of Ginath, their king, while the other half supported Omri. But Omri's supporters defeated the supporters of Tibni. So Tibni was killed, and Omri became the next king.
There's a lot of death and a lot of fighting over kingships.
Yep.
Like a lot.
Yeah. Omri began to rule over Israel in the 31st year of King Asa's reign in Judah.
Man, that dude's been in power for a long time.
Forever.
Right?
Like, y'all need to take notes.
Right?
He reigned 12 years in all, 6 of them in Tirzah. Then Omri bought the hill now known as Samaria from its owner Shemer for 150 pounds of silver. He built a city on it and called the city Samaria in honor of Shemer. But Omri did what was evil in the Lord's sight, even more than any of the kings before him.
Wow, man, these guys are just trying to like one up the evil,
worse,
man.
Right? So stupid.
They don't. Apparently, they don't like.
They are
they're
some non-learning.
God's having these people killed, and then they're like, whatever, I'm gonna be worse.
Right?
Like, it doesn't make any goddamn sense.
Kind of like the Trump sycophants.
Yeah.
They're like trying to out
bad
each other.
Right.
Like, no, I'm the worst. No, I am. No, I can be even worse.
Yeah.
Yeah. He followed the example of Jeroboam, son of Nebat, in all the sins he had committed and led Israel to commit.
I kind of feel bad for Jeroboam because he's being put up against all these other evil people,
Yeah.
and it's like they keep getting worse every time, and
Right.
it's like, well, are they really following his example, or are they like,
adding to
they're
it?
like worse, like maybe they're the example, like they're
Right?
the worst one, right?
Yeah, I mean, if Jeroboam was like tame compared to these guys,
Right?
then I'm not sure he's the example.
Like, I don't
anymore.
call Trump following in the manner of George W. Bush, right? I didn't like George W. back when he was president, but like I'm not like, yeah, Trump's following in his,
but
evil
they
ways.
did help set the country up for someone like Trump to waltz in.
Right, but it still doesn't cross my mind to say it that way.
Right.
So.
But I mean, we do talk about starting with Reagan.
Sure.
Or even Nixon.
Yeah.
That
Right.
they set this whole thing up so that have patience and
Right.
it'll happen.
Right.
So, I mean, not exactly the same, but we do still look back at history and be like,
Sure.
come on, Democrats.
But they're
get
making
this
this
shit
so much more,
together."
like, they're just, like, listing off kings, like, bad, worse, worse,
Right.
fucking worst.
Right.
Oh, wait, no, this is the worstest worst.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. The people provoked the anger of the Lord.
Of course they did.
The God of Israel with their worthless idols.
It's like a fucking broken record.
How is that worse? The rest of the events in Omri's reign, the extent of his power, and everything he did are recorded in.
Blank. Which is also the Chronicles of Kings or some bullshit like that.
Some bullshit like that. When Omri died, he was buried in Samaria. Then his son Ahab became the next king.
Ahab, huh?
Ahab, call me Ishmael. I'm going to tell you the story of Ahab.
Right.
And his fucking white whale.
Yeah.
And that's all I want to know about that story because I don't read Men in the Sea stories.
Okay.
I have actually read Moby Dick, but it was like way back in high school.
Yeah.
And I resented it the whole time because I hate Man in the Sea stories.
Right.
Like Man in the Sea, the old Man in the Sea, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I hate it. And I hate dog stories. And I hate war stories. Oh, Red Badge of Courage. Like, it made me so angry that I had to read it. I was like, what the fuck? And then, like, I had already read a bunch of Shakespeare. And I was like, why can't we read the good ones? Like, oh my God, Macbeth and Hamlet are awesome. But did we read those? No. We read fucking teenage suicides.
Yeah.
Romeo and Juliet, who fell in love after, like, 10 minutes of conversation and then killed each other for each other. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that we shouldn't have to read literature in high school, but could we just read some really good stuff? Like, I didn't read Jane Eyre in high school. I read it on my own. And that is such a good book. We should be reading shit like that.
Right.
That's cool. And it's gothic and it's dark and, you know, teenagers would eat the shit out of that. So anyways,
Right. Yeah. Okay.
I'm going to move on now. Sorry,
Yeah.
I just got real heated.
Okay.
Okay, call me Ishmael.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Ahab, son of Omri, began to rule over Israel in the 38th year of King Asa's reign in Judah.
Okay.
He reigned in Samaria 22 years. But Ahab, son of Omri, did what was evil in the Lord's sight.
Oh my God.
Even more than any other kings before him.
But he lasted 22 years.
Womp, womp, womp.
And he was even more evil than any of the others before him, just like the others.
Yep,
So he was the evilest so far, but yet he reigned for 22 years.
yep.
God let him exist as the evilest of all of them ever for 22 years.
Yeah,
Okay.
math ain't adding up.
No.
And as though it were not enough to follow the sinful example of Jeroboam, he married Jezebel, the daughter of King Ethbal of the Sidonians.
How dare he?
Don't marry Jezebel.
What?
You've heard about Jezebel. She's a right Jezebel. And he began to bow down in worship to Baal.
Oh my God.
Ugh. I mean, you thought it was bad with Molech, right?
Yeah, right.
First, Ahab built a temple and an altar for Baal in Samaria. Then he set up an Asherah pole. He did more to provoke the anger of the Lord, the God of Israel, than any of the other kings of Israel before him.
Any of them.
It was during his reign
His.
that Hiel, a man from Bethel, rebuilt Jericho.
Oh,
remember?
wow, yeah.
Joshua knocked that town over.
Right.
When he laid its foundations, it cost him the life of his oldest son, Abiram.
That's sad.
And when he completed it and set up its gates, it cost him the life of his youngest son, Segub.
That's really sad.
That is sad.
Poor guy.
But you know what?
What?
They were fucking told, don't ever build on this grounds again.
Yeah.
I remember that.
But they also have been told lots of things that they don't apparently remember either.
Well,
They don't even know that God is powerful enough to kill them because they're being evil. And then God doesn't kill them, so then how would they even know to know?
it's true.
So, like, I don't really believe half the shit that they tell me.
And are they, all of them individually reading the book of instructions?
I don't think so.
I don't think so either.
No, like, most people can't read back then.
Yeah.
So they had to rely on people telling them stuff. And
apparently
if
those-
the kings are telling them not to tell them stuff, nobody fucking knows.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, like, I call bullshit on all this stuff.
I do too. This all happened according to the message from the Lord concerning Jericho spoken by Joshua, son of Nun. The end.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I was just quoting just then.
Yeah.
Joshua said, no land should be built, nothing should be built on this land.
Right. Yeah. No, okay. It took me a second to, like, they pulled that Joshua son of Nun out of, like, left field there.
They're like, remember?
Like, oh, shit, man, you're big callback there.
Okay, the only reason that I remember his name is Joshua is because of the song that you've never heard of. That goes, Joshua fit the battle of Jericho, Jericho, Jericho. Joshua built a battle of, I said built, fit the battle of Jericho, and the walls came tumbling down.
Right, yeah.
See?
Never heard that.
I know, but I have. And that's why I remembered Joshua was the one that had to do with Jericho.
It's good on you.
Yeah.
All right.
But I can't remember anything else.
So that was a lot of fucking kings, and they kept getting eviler. Like, by the time they got to the end, they were nearly the fucking devil.
It's true.
I think that's my theory anyway.
They were worshiping
I don't know
Baal.
how. Right?
It doesn't get more devil-y than that, right?
I guess. They were worshiping Baal back in fucking Moses' time.
Right.
So nothing has fucking changed.
Right.
Nothing.
Like, over 1,000 years, nothing has changed.
Like, I just, this whole thing just sounds like they don't give a fuck about Yahweh.
No, they don't.
At all.
They don't.
And I'm like, okay, so you're not convincing me that this is, like, legit shit, because nobody that was living back there with God knows anything about this dude or cares anything about him. And more than that, they aren't following his fucking rules, and they're going completely against him. And we haven't seen hide nor hair of him any time in the last at least 1,000 years. I mean, right. I at least to my knowledge anyway. I mean, I don't know.
I haven't seen him.
I would say 2,000 years, actually, because, that was when Jesus died. So
I haven't seen him anywhere. Have you?
I have not, no.
I mean, I asked my kid one time, and my kid was like, the fuck is wrong
I think
with
there
you?
are people that have claimed to see him, but I think most of them are in institutes.
Or lying.
Or lying.
Or both.
Or both, yeah.
I'm not going to say that just because you're a liar doesn't mean you can't be crazy and vice versa.
Very true, very true.
And I understand that you're not supposed to call people with mental health problems crazy, so apologies for that. But when it comes to religion, I sometimes just can't help myself.
Right,
Those people cray.
Right.
What you gonna do?
I don't know. You're going to get eviler and eviler, apparently. All right, well, that was 1 Kings chapter 16. And tomorrow we'll be back with
1 Kings chapter 17.
We'll see you then.
Bye.
Hey, wife, I guess that's the end?
But husband, that's just sad.
It doesn't have to be. We are on lots of social media platforms like Twitter. Our handle there is sacrilegious_D.
For D's nuts.
Oh my God. Stop doing that. Anyway, we're also on Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. There's a link to all of our social media sites at our website.
Ooh, we have a website?
Yeah, it's sacrilegiousdiscourse.com, where you can also find a link to our merch shop.
We have a merch shop?
Yep, we have podcast-themed clothing, mugs, notebooks, and more, as well as an atheist and science-themed products.
Wow, our fans should really go check that out right now.
Definitely. They can get in touch with us by sending an email to sacrilegiousdiscourse@gmail.com. But before they do that, we could really use some help.
Oh yeah? With what?
Well, it's not free running the podcast, and we need some financial support in order to get better equipment, which will free up time so we can concentrate on our podcast and our fans.
Okay, so what should they do?
Head over to patreon.com/sacrilegiousdiscourse and sign up as a contributor on our podcast. Supporters there receive additional bi-weekly episodes that we record just for our Patreon members for as little as $2 a month.
Also, we'd really appreciate it if you would like and subscribe on whatever platform you're using.
And Apple Podcast reviews help us out tremendously.
Like and subscribe. Leave an Apple review. Join us on Twitter. Support us on Patreon. That's a lot of instructions. Don't forget to say thanks.
Thanks.
Okay, bye.